What are they gonna say now? What are they gonna say now? Lee Zeldin just broke the internet.
Well, I didn't have this on my bingo card, and I didn't think this was happening today, but Lee Zeldin just got done with an interview with Bret Baier from Fox News. Invited him in to have a conversation, and he's doing the entire show from EPA headquarters. Remember all of the people that said, oh, he's just issuing guidance. He's not going to get rid of DEF. He's not going to get rid of these burdensome emission systems on diesel. What are they going to say now? What are they going to say now? Remember, when people were super excited and posting shorts and videos and nothing was going to change and everything was going to stay the same? That video that me and Truckmaster did together, telling you guys to go over and comment in the comment section for the endangerment finding, I think is starting to pay dividends as you guys are making your voices heard. The farmers, the truck drivers, the people that actually use this equipment. Because Lee Zeldin, I think, is about to break the internet. Damn.
As the EPA does its part to usher in the golden age of American success. EPA will be reconsidering many suffocating rules that restrict nearly every sector of our economy and cost Americans trillions of dollars.
Joining us here in the EPA headquarters building, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. Mr. Administrator, thanks for having us.
Great to be with you.
It's a great building.
Yes, sir.
You're treating this differently than many of your predecessors have. You've done a lot of things in a short time. What is your mandate here?
The American public elected President Trump to ensure that we were heeding their economic concerns, promoting consumer freedom, to help unleash a golden age of American prosperity. All these different agencies, including EPA, have so many powers, equities that allow us to deliver on that Trump mandate. So for us here at EPA, our core mission is protecting human health and the environment. We want to power the great American comeback, which means, as President Trump has spoken about, clean air, land, and water for all Americans. But we can also help unleash energy dominance, make America the AI capital of the world, advance cooperative federalism, permitting reform, bringing back American auto jobs. These are also all demands that the American public voted for.
But you're cutting regulations. You are scaling back the broad kind of regulatory authority that this agency has historically had.
A lot of regulations in the Biden EPA in 2023 and 2024 were essentially deciding between either protecting the environment or growing the economy. There's like a binary choice. If we want to protect the environment, we have to strangulate the economy. We need electric vehicle mandates. We need to put the coal industry out of existence. We need to get rid of all sorts of baseload power and ramp up intermittent sources of power like wind, as if that's a substitute for baseload power. It was an approach to regulation that wasn't voted on all of these times by Congress. Instead, it was bureaucrats at an agency deciding what was the best for America. And the American public revolted against that last November.
So let's talk about the EPA proposing to rescind the 2009 finding that greenhouse gases threaten to endanger public health and welfare. What is this endangerment finding, and how will rolling it back affect American families?
2009, the Obama EPA got quite creative in analyzing the Clean Air Act, specifically Section 202. They said that carbon dioxide, when mixed with a bunch of other well-mixed gases, greenhouse gases, some not even emitted from mobile sources, that it contributes to global climate change, not causes, they say contributes. They don't say how much, north of zero. And then they say global climate change endangers public health and welfare. There are so many mental leaps in there. Where do we get our authority from as an agency? We get it from statute. But if you actually read the law, it doesn't say so much of what these mental leaps were that created it. So what's the significance of the endangerment finding? Well, then they end up creating what amounts to trillions of dollars of regulation to move this country towards forcing people and car manufacturers to be putting electric vehicles on the streets. President Trump isn't against an American purchasing an electric vehicle, but if they want to go out and get a gas-powered vehicle, they should be allowed to.
So without national greenhouse gas standards, could businesses be exposed to lawsuits and kind of a patchwork of state regulations?
Well, for a long time, you had businesses that were forced to live under this regulatory scheme that kept getting worse. It wasn't just like a regulation came out in 2009 after the endangerment finding, and then that was it. They kept on piling more and more and more regulations that followed. Our proposal isn't just a rescission of the endangerment finding, but also all of the regulations that followed for light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicles. You know, here at the agency, we're heeding the American public that wants relief from diesel exhaust fluid systems. They want their gas cans to be able to pour more freely. They want us to be able to both respond to LA wildfires, help clean up the Tijuana River sewage, increase water quality in Southeast Pennsylvania, all this that we're doing and much more. Superfund sites, brownfield sites, they know that we can protect the environment and grow the economy. We're the ones who choose both, and we're proud of it.
But you're ready to defend all of this in court. You expect lawsuits to be filed.
I realize that as Administrator of EPA, every decision I make, whether I say yes or no, that I'm going to get sued. But that's the position we signed up for. We're here to make the big decision.
So far, you've scaled back the reach of this place. You talk about saving a lot of money. What is that number?
Over $29 billion of grants I've canceled.
$29 billion of grants.
Our operating budget annually is about $10 billion. We've canceled over $29 billion. $27 billion of it was the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, part of the Inflation Reduction Act when President Biden had one-party control of Congress. And it was filled with self-dealing and conflicts of interest, unqualified recipients, reduced agency oversight, money going through pass-throughs, the dollar getting diluted. And if the argument is going to be made that a dollar should get spent to remediate an environmental issue, then spend it on remediating an environmental issue. Instead, they're giving it to their friends, former Biden and Obama officials and Democratic donors. You know, President Trump talks about Stacey Abrams, this one linked NGO to her that received $2 billion.
Is that true?
Yes, in 2023.
And it was going out the door.
Yes, in 2023, that NGO received $100. In 2024, they got $2 billion from the Biden EPA. They had to complete training in their grant agreement, page 7, that says they have 90 days to complete training called How to Develop a Budget. Yet, in the first 21 days, they can start spending the money, billions of dollars. Now, you could ask all sorts of great questions about where the money goes once it goes through pass-throughs. And deliberately, by design, I won't have answers to basic questions.
So this pass-throughs, I mean, you have to be almost an investigator to see the bank shots of where this money goes, right? I mean, that's part of what you're trying to find out. Have you been shocked by what you've found?
Stunning. And in one case, for example, in the Solar for All program, a $7 billion program that's been canceled, we found examples where there were 4 pass-throughs and they're all getting a VIG. So it's not like the dollar goes from an appropriation of Congress to a dollar that gets used for some good reason on the back end. Think of how much that dollar gets diluted when you have 4 pass-throughs, each taking their 15+%.
So for the people who looked and hear this and say, oh, this is the fleecing of America, this is expanded government, and you guys are attacking it. They looked at DOGE and said that was going to do it. And they haven't seen that yet. They haven't seen that develop, and all that was talked about really hasn't come to fruition. How do you deal with that criticism?
Well, at this agency where we've now canceled 3 times the size of our operating budget, we've been proudly implementing a zero tolerance policy for any waste and abuse. Working with DOGE on top of the $27 billion that I canceled for the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund was over $2 billion of many hundreds of grants where you might
So you're saying it's an ongoing process. I mean, it's not stopped.
No. And I want to be able to account for every single dollar that goes through this agency. That is my duty. Now, unfortunately, it's not a situation where unanimously members of Congress all want me to be able to account for every last dollar. There are members of Congress, when I was appearing before the Senate EPW committee, people like Senator Whitehouse or Senator Schiff or Senator Markey insulted by the fact that we are digging deep and exposing all of this corruption, all this waste and abuse. They should be outraged with me, and instead they're infuriated by the fact that we're doing something about it.
So for your colleagues who worked with you as a congressman up on Capitol Hill, Politico has this quote: from a pro-climate Republican to one of Trump disruptors. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin's attacks on his agency's spending and regulations have made him a rising star in the Trump cabinet, but left some former colleagues mystified. Why would they be mystified? Have you changed?
I would say, no, absolutely not. I would go back and look at the 100th day of President Trump's term in office. We released our top 100 environmental actions we took in those first 100 days. On President Trump's 200th day in office, the next top 100 environmental actions that we took. I just got back from Mexico City, where we signed an agreement with Mexico to have a permanent 100% solution to end the Tijuana River sewage. Earlier I was talking about what happened in LA. That was the largest wildfire response in the history of this agency. And with President Trump's leadership and executive order, we got it done in under 30 days.
So you're saying you can protect the environment and protect the taxpayer dollars?
Amen. That's music to my ears, yes. That should be lyrics of a song. It's absolutely true. The American public demand it.
Mr. Administrator, we appreciate the time and the tour. We'll speak with you in a little bit.
I've told you guys this multiple times, man. You know, there's the negative Nancys that are out there that are like, nothing's gonna change. People are gonna, you know, their emissions are gonna stay. They're not getting rid of this. They're not getting rid of that. I told you from the beginning. I told you from the start. My email box is slam full because during the premiere, we were doing a premiere for another thing on the DOJ suing the state of California. Everybody's like, oh my God, Lee's on Fox News. Damn, my throat is killing me right now. Lee's on Fox News. He just said he wants to get rid of DEF completely. I was like, say what? Boop. I had, you know, immediately I had to tune in. I got to see what's up. And I can't believe it. I can't, you know, like, well, I can believe it. Let me put it like this. I just can't believe it came out on TV. I mean, how many more times does the administrator of the EPA have to come out and tell you retards that act like you're in the media or have YouTube channels or, you know, whatever, that this stuff is going away? How many times? How many times do we have to tell you, you know, we tell you jackasses in California that are making videos talking about, oh, you're still gonna have to do this smog and this crap on your diesel motorhomes. You know, you're not gonna get a break from it. DOJ comes in and sues. Department of Transportation is talking about taking over the California DMV. Listen, man. There's a difference between being positive and then overly positive and posting bullshit. We don't post bullshit over here. My track record in terms of leaking products and services from companies like, you know, Stellantis, Ford, GM, and talking about the news, working as a government contractor, having an inside track, talking with people, being able to read the actual policies, bills, rules, other stuff that comes out is self-friggin' explanatory, man. And I told you, nothing says it better than if the president says something directly or the EPA administrator says it. And weeks ago, he came out and said, we're not rolling back anything, we're eliminating everything. Do you jackasses, do you effing retards finally get it? Is it computing in your brain now? This is the thing that drives me nuts, right? And now they'll be like, oh, okay, he said it, but nothing. This will be the new thing. He said it, I heard what he said, but nothing's gonna change. It's still going to stay the same. Listen, I told you when they did the DEF guidance, it was funny because some of these YouTube channels posted a very subjective clip. You have to be careful with that here on YouTube because you have people that want to push a specific narrative when it comes to this stuff, right? They posted a very specific clip, and they left out the part where they said this is just a starting point. We're not even a week in about the DEF guidance, and he's already come back out and said what he just said now. Look, you can be salty, you can be mad. Just admit you're wrong, man. That's all. Just admit you're wrong. Move forward. Continue to do what you want to do, or get on the train, man. Get on the train of positivity and freedom, and get off of the train of communism and hoping the government just runs your life, because I'm not for that shit. And if you watch the other YouTube channels that are negative about this and consistently wrong, and I love this because I don't spend a ton of time. I don't go over there to go watch other people's comment sections like that. Unless they're like talking about me directly, or somebody messages me or sends me a screenshot or something, I'll pop over and see what's up. And it always makes me laugh when they're like, "You were right, dude." Da-da-da. They're talking about the other guy, and then like some news thing pops up like today, and then they're like, Anywho's, you can't do it. You can't make it any better than what you just got. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited because, like I said, this is a starting point. And as Zeldin pushes this through and gets this endangerment finding the F out of the way, we're going to actually have emissions freedom. And the way the Department of Justice is going after the state of California right now, that also means smog checks going bye-bye. Having government officials wanting to look under your hood and do all that bullshit, that's going bye-bye. So you can either be on the train of freedom, or you can be on the train of dick riding, meat riding, and swinging from carbs ball sack. We're not doing that over here. Anywho's, how do I say that? Do I have this? I told you so? I told you so? I need my stepdaughters here so they can literally just I told you so. I told you this was happening. But nobody wanted to listen, man. They just want to, "Oh, nothing's gonna change. This guy on YouTube said nothing's happening." What now? Till next time. Stay petty, my friends.